We have never gotten the perfect Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, but today, we're gonna fix that. I woke up the other morning in like the best mood, and it felt like such a day to just wake up and watch Sonic X. I turned it on and I was just kind of like, this isn't as good as I remembered it being. Yes, I am a fan of the Sonic X dub, and I know in the comment section you're going to be telling me to watch the sub and it's so much better, but there's just so much wrong with Sonic X, and I think everyone can admit that, whether you're a sub or dub fan. The anime itself has lots of issues. That isn't to say I don't like the show, I really do, but I just think it could have been so much better. That said, it might be the best Sonic the Hedgehog TV show just because it does the lore the best and the characterization the best as well. I also like the art style of the show too, but the animation is just a different story, and I think we can all agree on that. The show that I feel has the opposite problem is Sonic Prime, where the animation is really good and so is the art style, but I just don't think it really gets the characters or world of Sonic done correctly. It's just not good in my opinion. I really wanted to like this show more than I did, and I honestly could not bring myself to watch Season 3 just because it just felt so bland. The whole show overall was really just like a style with no substance kind of show. I liked seeing all of the different things happen, but when I really sat down and watched them unfold and the events take place and the characters, it just felt like it was just scratching the surface of what a Sonic the Hedgehog multiverse story could be. And I'm not saying that I'm this elitist Sonic fan that needs these deep-cut references in order to be good because, oh my gosh, Soliano just wasn't in the show and that's bad because it doesn't reference it. But no, really, what makes it not good is just that in every different universe that Sonic goes to, it's just the same old reskins of Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and so on and so forth, and to be honest, it gets stale really fast in my opinion. It probably doesn't help that I binged Season 1 and Season 2 in like one night. Don't recommend doing that, but even still, the point stands. The show gets bland quickly, and I don't think that's exactly what I would consider a hot take. But you know what was a hot take? A couple years ago, I made a statement saying that the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise could stand alone on just TV shows. Now, I need you to stick with me real quick, because I'm going to be honest with you, I stand by with what I said. Now imagine a world where Sega decides that they're done making video games for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. I would be upset about that, as I'm sure many of you would be as well. So my original argument for that video was not saying they should do this, but rather that they could do this and still be okay. Now in this fictitious world where Sega decides to stop making Sonic the Hedgehog video games, they really go hard in the TV show department, where they're making all sorts of great Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons, and so on and so forth. Now, if I'm being honest, a lot of my reasoning behind this video was just basically reminiscing on the animations that Sega made for the Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel, like your Rise of Wisp or your Chow in Space, those types of videos. And I'm not going to say that that's not a strong argument, because I still do think it is, because those animations, and we'll get into them later, are actually very good, and they were only posted to YouTube. These animations brought in millions of views on just YouTube alone. And just a couple of days ago, Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings just won an award, the Webby Award. Now going back to my original video, Sonic Can Thrive on Cartoons Alone, that I made in August of 2021, it was made before both the Sonic movie 2 and 3 ever hit theaters. Sonic has gotten incredibly more popular since then, and if you don't think so, you're crazy. I bring that up to say that I believe my argument has aged like a fine wine. I really do think that this has just gotten stronger over time, and that I can still say to this day, yeah, Sonic can thrive on cartoons alone, especially if they were continued to do like movies and stuff like that as well. However, that's not what I want. But in the hypothetical universe where Sonic gets another cartoon after Sonic Prime, or even decides to thrive on cartoons alone, I wanted to talk about what I believe would be the perfect Sonic the Hedgehog TV show. From animation, to art style, to casting, to everything else this cartoon needs to have, let's get into it. This might be the least divisive opinion I have in this video. So, let me just tell you right now, if we're making a Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, it's gotta be 2D. As a Sonic the Hedgehog fan born in the 2000s, one of the coolest things about this franchise early on to me was the 2D art style for the boxes. I mean, it just made them feel so different, so sleek, so cool, and it matched the vibe of the overall universe. I think everyone can agree that the best Sonic artwork usually is in 2D. I mean, we always have the debates with the Sonic the Hedgehog renders, which they put up a really good 3D one, by the way, and I don't want to hear anyone complaining about it. But with 2D animation, you don't have these problems. I feel like always the Sonic the Hedgehog characters look the most consistent with 2D artwork and just look the best. Why would we go into any other direction than this? Again, I don't think this is a very hard category, but in a perfect world, I would love Yuji Uekawa's art style to be portrayed in this 2D environment. We've only ever really seen one snippet of his artwork in animated form, which is this little quick animation. But to be honest, I don't even need an animation of this art style to be sold on it already, because Yuji Uekawa really knows what he's doing with Sonic, and every time he puts out a new piece, I'm just awestruck. Just fantastic. Sonic X tried to replicate this, I feel, but I felt like it was really too inconsistent sometimes to really make it feel good. But if this art style is just totally not doable, I am more than happy with the Knuckles Sonic Frontiers prologue animation, and same thing goes for what we saw here in the Sonic Dream Team animation. I think both are just really, really good. Now this is where things get a little tricky, I feel. When it comes to the Sonic the Hedgehog story in most Sonic the Hedgehog TV shows, they either go with a really episodic nature where there is no underlying story and things just kind of happen and vary between episodes, or you have shows like Sonic X where there's multiple plots going on, or you have a show like Sonic Prime where it's one consistent story all the way through to the end. The approach that I would take with this perfect Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon would be one similar to the one Sonic X did, where it was several different stories taking place within one show, but also having those little few episodes where they're not related to anything. However, if you've ever seen like the animated Batman series or the animated Superman series, I would want to do something exactly like that, where you have a few episodes that are part of a bigger, grander story, but also most of the episodes are really not related to anything. I think this is such an important thing to do because you want to make sure that the show is really easy for anyone to get into and not feel like they're missing out on any information. These episodes can still be awesome in their own right because you have a 20-minute window to tell one story, and you can keep making different stories that are related in some aspect just by using the same characters, the same world, and having different things going on there. You see, the reason why I don't want the show to just be one long story is because I feel like that can be very limiting. As we've seen before with Sonic Prime, there were certain characters who just weren't in that show because they just didn't need to be. However, having the episodes be more free-flowing allows you to take some time to dedicate to other Sonic characters who may not be as popular. You can have a whole episode about the Chaotix without using Sonic the Hedgehog at all. Doing this gives a lot more time to shine for some of the other Sonic characters or just elements of the world that may not get as much attention, which I think would do this series wonders. This sounds incredibly weird to admit and to say in general, but you know how much screen time just Tails and Knuckles have together? Not that much. Before Sonic Frontiers, the two of them really didn't have that much time together in official media. In games, whenever you saw those two together, Sonic was always there. But if Sonic wasn't there, you'd rarely see these two interact. This bothered me so much that a couple years ago I even made a video dissecting the relationship between Tails and Knuckles. Definitely go check that out and subscribe and like this video if you're enjoying it. You must be enjoying it if you're this far in. But I digress. A show structured like this would allow for those weird or even more interesting character interactions that don't always just involve the main character, Sonic the Hedgehog. I'd love to see more of the dynamic between Shadow and Amy and Shadow and Knuckles and just other characters in general. Can you tell I love Shadow the Hedgehog? Now, I do think that there are going to be a lot of people in the comment section telling me that I'm crazy for this take and then I should change it because it's no longer going to be the perfect Sonic the Hedgehog TV show, and yeah, I get it. You can cast whoever you want in the comment section down below. I'm cool with whatever picks you're going to make, but personally, I'm okay with the game cast being the exact same here in this TV show. Full transparency, I actually really do like the casting for the Sonic the Hedgehog characters in the games. I think most of them sound very on brand for the character, with maybe one or two exceptions.
Whatever. That's no good.
And because I know that you all are going to have different takes, especially when it comes to this section, please let me know your casting choices in the comment section down below. Feel free to choose whoever. If you want to cast Chris Pratt as Sonic, go right ahead. I'm not opposed. Now for this section, I'm assembling something of a dream team. Obviously, each of these writers are going to be writing different episodes, and sometimes they'll collaborate maybe on the longer story-based parts. But I've got Shiro Makawa, Kyoko Yoshimura, and Ian Flynn. So for those of you unfamiliar, Shiro Makawa actually worked on the story for Sonic Adventure 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time, and the story I think is just, it sticks with me to this very day, maybe because I'm just a massive Shadow the Hedgehog fan, but I just love this story. Kyoko Yoshimura worked on Sonic Unleashed and Season 2 and 3 of Sonic X, as well as Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. That last bit might be pretty divisive, but I think we can all agree the worst part of Sonic 06 might be the gameplay, not really the story, and if you're me, you like all of it. And my last pick was Ian Flynn just because I believe he has a really good understanding of the Sonic characters, having worked with this franchise for such a long time now, and even now he's working with the IDW line working on the comics. Realistically speaking, we would have more than 3 writers on this show, but these are the 3 that really just, I need them to work on this. Just, if it were up to me, I'm getting them together. I almost didn't put this section in the video because it didn't seem entirely relevant, and I honestly didn't care, but the state of television nowadays is changing overall, and this is an important topic to talk about when talking about the perfect Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. And if I'm honest, I think this should go on Netflix. There are a few reasons behind this, but the main ones being that Netflix is still the biggest streaming platform there is, and also because every time a Sonic property goes on Netflix, it performs really well. If memory serves, Sonic Prime actually stayed within the top 10 on Netflix for quite some time. But putting all of that aside, I think that this could really be the perfect Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. Let me know if you guys can make anything better in the comment section down below. I'd love to see all of your crazy concoctions. But with all of that said and done, thank you all so much for watching. This is your boy Sonic signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?